Hello everyone, welcome to Dmvii Live for October 21st, 2017. Keep in mind, stocks and strategies discussed here are for information only. Do not treat any information provided here as investment advice or recommendation. It is up to the individual investor to perform due diligence prior to investing in any company. And here are the symbols covered this week. Feel free to pause the video and look up the symbols to learn more about the underlying businesses.
Might even repeat it too, but the person had three people talking about blockchain and talking about the positives about it, talked about why people would fight it, the people that are going to fight it, like Jamie Dimon is fighting it, but he's fighting it, but he has his company has its private blockchain.
Oh, and the Trump on that deal or something?
Who knows?
I mean, that's...
And they also, that format I told you about too, because the law enforcement, Homeland Security is using that blockchain to capture people.
Well, I mean,
they are having success. They're getting the bad characters.
Thing. It's a one-shot deal. Everybody, if the Norks are doing it, it shows up. Hey, they did that. I mean, that's Homeland Security. Not Norks did on this deal. But yeah.
So my concern for the technology, at least the cryptocurrencies, is that right now I know a lot of people are enabling transactions in Bitcoins or whatever other Ethereum or other currencies on the platform like Amazon. I know some other YouTubers are also accepting cryptos as a payment, right? So I still see a lot of people are buying them and holding on to them and hoping for appreciation of the cryptos. And I understand the majority of the miners are getting the cryptos from mining the essentially fee paid to validate the transactions. The people who are doing those transactions at the current stance is mostly people in the Silk Road or some type of black market that's happening out there. So there comes the ethical issue, right? Like if you come in and you're investing into this, you're essentially helping this infrastructure that's used for child trafficking, all this
all the
stuff that's going on. But I do see if you use it in the right context, it's good. But then there are always people out there that's using it for malicious activities.
We're trying to get somebody in here to speak on that, because apparently where they're using it for good current purposes is places with weak banking systems, such as Africa,
Venezuela,
and Eastern Europe. Apparently, the Ukraine, Georgia, and if Jerry doesn't show up, then we'll try to reach out to this other woman, and she is very much involved in this activity in Georgia.
I mean, has somebody got a Bitcoin that we
I'm sorry, Ukraine.
I mean, is there somebody have a Bitcoin that we can give to your Jerry Bruno? That might
give him a Bitcoin.
What? That's pretty expensive these days.
He only wants $5 with Bitcoin.
I can give him $5 with Bitcoin.
Well, maybe you give John that might trip.
What, 10 zeros and 1?
Yeah, lots of zeros and ones.
I think we'll get. If it's not him, I would think somebody from his office maybe come.
I mean,
but if we don't hear back from,
Tell him I'll give him 100.
If we don't hear back from the guy, I mean, because I reached out to him and identified that, look, I met you, we talked, and I'll go out to that young woman and try. And then I'll go back to the person who arranged all this. She's back from Stanford, and I'll go to Sevilla, and Sevilla will she sort of brought these people in, and I'll go to her and see if she can get somebody else in here.
I think that's a Reed's question. I think the nature of business has a sense of debauchery associated to it. And whether you pick Coca-Cola, who used to put cocaine in the original Coca-Cola, which made them wealthy. I mean, there's so many ethical issues behind even Lockheed Martin, which creates the bombs and ships and things.
Philip Morris.
Exactly, and Philip Morris. Yeah, the list is very long, and I think as an investor, that's what we are. You want to really put your biases aside and really ask yourself: are you thinking clearly when it comes to an investment that can earn you 1,000%? And so I'm a guy who invested in Bitcoin very early. I don't want to become a legend in this room. but that's coming quickly.
He's the Bitcoin master.
Disappearing to nowhere. You gotta say, who was that guy Noel? Because I'm at that point because I didn't allow my emotions to dictate the investment of Bitcoin. And I'm saying it's not too late yet. A lot of people say, well, $6,000 a coin, it's late. No, it's not late. You should do it as soon as possible because the door is closing. And this is going to be definitely.
I mean,
So
let's put it this way: don't lose your computer if it's got your Bitcoin info on it. I mean, that's
Well, you write it out. You can write it out.
So I think something that is very interesting to look into is that, like, what we've been talking about this for many years, many months, is that invest in the technology, not the actual currency, right? So something else that is that we can actually buy some of those miners and join a pool of coin farmers and pay them subscription fee, and then pay your electric bill and have one of those systems in your house. I don't know. Do you currently do that in your home?
Well, I'm a part of a pool of people that are buying a new crypto. But
Yeah.
Bitcoin.
Okay.
You get the only hang up there is the tax folks want a piece of that. So,
How are you? How are you going to handle that?
Because it's not officially money, so you're not reporting it, or if you are.
You don't need to report. You don't need to report it until you want to convert it to dollars, right? Because then they can trace.
Maybe you just operate Bitcoin, exclusively.
Yeah, if you just stay in a Bitcoin world, nobody regulates. I mean, are you gonna pay Chinese tax? Are you gonna pay U.S. tax? Who's getting that tax, right? So
let's face it, that's a hefty piece of pie for everybody. Yeah.
So, do you think we should wait for a pullback before we invest, or should we just invest?
The only thing I think that will occur around December is when SigWit 2.
another fork.
Yeah, well, it's not a fork, it's just a final upgrade to SigWit was in two portions. We was at the lecture that I did at my business center for the first fork. So the second fork is coming up in November-ish, December-ish.
Okay.
Then you'll see stability reoccur around January 1st. But if you're a person that's been on the sideline watching this, you better buy today.
I was gonna make the move when it hit 3,500, and I should have did it. I was like, I had it there. I was like, but it's so much. I'm not sure. Like after I saw what happened, and I've been watching it for years.
That's a lot of dough to shell out.
I gotta get in on it.
Wow.
What
I'm
are
gonna wait until it goes to
zero and then I invest.
I just believe in the technology of it. I really do because I've like read the white papers and everything. So it's just.
One of the things that you have to understand
technology.
is if you don't pull the trigger, you're going to do the exact same thing you did 3 or 4 years ago. I've been presenting Bitcoin to this group since it was about 100.
No, I've been the Bitcoin man.
Really?
Yeah.
And I pulled the trigger a long time ago.
Yeah.
Damn.
So I'm just saying to you, like, you need to understand, if you're going to pull the trigger, do it now. Don't wait.
Yeah, I'm actually thinking maybe even get on to the hardware side because if you get the physical hardware and then join a pool and mine them, and even if it's new cryptos, right? Like, it doesn't matter what cryptocurrency gets in favor tomorrow, you still have that physical asset that's worth some value, the GPU, the ASIC boards, whatever that you have, and then you can repurpose it because essentially it's a blockchain technology. You don't have to use it solely for Bitcoins. I know there's some ASIC boards out there that do mine Bitcoins and then a bunch of other currencies
It's
as
taking
well.
so much juice anymore on Bitcoin.
That's why you gotta join a pool.
I mean,
Sure.
it's
ASIC
like mega.
doesn't work. ASIC doesn't work for all currencies on the blockchain.
Yeah. Just like I think like the one I was
Bitcoin
looking at, like
Cash doesn't
6 or
work, but
7.
Bitcoin Cash doesn't use ASIC chips. So.
Yeah.
But in any case,
The other investing to the physical hardware part, I think that's smart.
Take control.
Okay.
The other thing too, that this when he talks about a fork being done from that form I went to, when they do a fork, they said that was making it more secure. Is that true?
To some degree, yeah.
Because I do think besides Bitcoin and maybe that will be or crypto.
so is that it for you, John?
That's it for me.
All right, Mike, you're next.
Well, I bought some
Guidance up.
Fastenal, little pullback, and I picked up
I
that.
guess that's fast.
Fast, F-A-S-T. And then I bought a little Costco on a pullback. Wasn't a huge pull. I think I picked up the Fast right around 46.
Costco's, what's that? Is that?
COST.
CLST, yeah.
Yeah, and then I had a pullback, and I think the fears of Amazon and the Whole Foods crushing them are overblown. They're just radically different markets. I shop at Costco. It's always packed. I think the pullback was a buying opportunity. And other than that, I've been looking at some European blue chips because I think their market's a little.
1.2 yield, so.
Yeah, it's got a little yield, and they spit up these special dividends every once in a while, which tend to be really, really juicy. I picked this up during the recession and just hung on to it. I stupidly sold a bunch of GM, not all of it, but most of it.
What's wrong with you?
Yeah, I sold a 38 maybe. So I'm going to hang on to what I have left, but every time I go, it gets my rule of never sell, I regret it. And that's pretty much it for me.
All right, well, that's what, I don't know what you think. So. All right.
What was your thinking about Fast? Why'd you buy that?
I
That's material. It looks like material construction.
It-
I'm
it-
interested in that space because of the hurricane.
Yeah, I think it'll pick up there. They have this new business model where they put in kind of these kiosks in building areas. They're the best fastener company out there. So if the economy keeps bubbling along, there's building and construction, they'll do well. And it's got a decent yield. At this point, I'm buying boring dividend stocks.
Mm-hmm. All right, thanks.
All right, Michael, you're next.
The first stock I will give you is not an investment. You cannot trade it very much. It's only a gamble to collect dividend in December. GOEX.
GOEX.
Ringo, Oscar, Echo, X-ray.
That's it? Nope, so sorry, screwed it up.
Ringo, Oscar, Echo, X-ray. Gold Explorers.
If you look at its dividend, does it show? Let's see.
Dividend
so.
of
Yeah, it's not sure.
1.3%.
No.
So cookies get
Something wrong with it. Does anybody else have a Yahoo or this and that?
I have.
Yeah, it's not showing Google.
0.70 was the dividend in Robinhood. What I'm seeing.
Yeah,
Can
Google
you see the
is not
dividend
showing.
history on this? Dividend history?
This is all I can.
No, dividend
Right,
history.
yeah, here, what indicate to me, it might have been a dividend.
Well, the last time he
Well,
paid dividend was December 28th, and that's 41.21%.
Okay, that was the point.
You're talking about distributions?
No, the dividend payment, but that's fine, he found it. Good. Only point is they pay annually
Mhm.
and they pay big.
They just started doing it in 2014, though.
So if they do it,
See, this looked like an annual.
so it's not
dividend.
investment, it's not,
Major.
nothing. Only thing that, this is not for, this is just
See,
sort of fun stock.
It's a dividend.
I bought 100 shares so that if they pay dividend in December, like they have in the past years, it's always very, very high. One time you get the dividend, you're gonna feel good one time, and then you can sell it or whatever. Otherwise, it's not investment, it's not tradable. Okay. Second thing, so this is it. He found it. Some of this information, for whatever reason, that what that shows is not what I thought it was. What he found does make sense. If you go to Yahoo or MSN or Google, you will see they pay very high dividend. Numbers are very high, like 30, 40, 50, 60% over the years. But anyways, something to look at. In terms of market, my view is as somebody mentioned here, I don't think it's investable market at the moment. Even if that is the new basis, if that is the new norm, I'm gonna just sort of shy away from investing anything. But it's an ideal market for trading. Absolutely, if you're a trader, sit there. No matter which way you go during the day, you will have the opportunity to do the opposite. So it's a wonderful trading market, but horrible investment market. But I am on CI, symbol CI, for some time, and this seems to be doing well. To expand the scale a little bit, maybe 2 years, 5 years, whatever.
Johnson Controls?
No, CI
Charlie
is
got it.
Oh,
Cigna
CI.
Corporation.
that.
Wow,
Yeah, I mean, that
that's
looks
done
like
pretty
a
good for you.
Pretty sexy
Yeah.
chart.
That's a nice chart.
Yeah, that's a bit short.
Cigna Corporate, oh, that's an
So-
insurance outfit, huh?
Yeah, this is like, any other company in this business. So bought rid of that. And then of course I cannot do anything different than what others are doing, but like he sold GM prematurely, I sold IBM prematurely. I've been sitting on it since 140, 145. Evening, it went to 153, IBM last week, and I sold it, and then it hit 160. So IBM, if you're gonna look at it, just like I said, what he did with that GM, I sold it prematurely. But my thinking is that fundamentally nothing has changed with the business. It did hit 160 this week.
See, now that's a well beefier dividend, 3.7%.
With the new price, yeah.
Yep. Yeah, but so that was,
Yeah, that jump is where I sold it, but it shows 160. My assumption going forward is it's getting back to 150s or 140s. And if it does, we'll buy it again. It's one of those things, you can sit on it and sleep at night, go to the stock, not going to zero. Oops. Yeah. And the last thing, so little trading, little gambling, and little stability. And the last thing is FFA. That is just income, nothing else.
see, Franklin, Apple.
Yeah, it pays, well, that performance does not include that's not the total return, it's the price is what you're looking at.
4.6%.
So that's the price, even if though it's gonna be higher than this. So that's the price appreciation, on top of that you get the dividend. So I bought a little of that, have been for years, but it's just added a little more to it. My issue is a little bit of money sitting here and there, I need to do something with it. But anyways, that was one of those things that I did. Newt came back this week, I know you were in it. But this is it.
Kate, you're next.
Okay, so I did want to mention there was a little bit of information put out about Robinhood that was incorrect a couple of weeks ago. I know it's not like a favorite trading platform for sophisticated investors, but so there is no cost for putting money in. There's no cost for taking money out. And there's no cost for making trades. So I just wanted to set the record straight on that in defense of Robinhood.
Okay.
And then
Let's get facts out. Great.
yeah. And then, so what I didn't do a whole lot this week. My plan, though, is for Monday. There's an IPO that I'm really excited about. And I know in my past I've kind of reported my IPO activities after the fact, but this one is a little bit of like for anybody who's interested. The IPO's FAT, F-A-T.
Okay. So this is an IPO, F-A-T IPO.
And it's a Fat Burger, and it's
Oil?
like a restaurant franchise. It's the original Fat Burger restaurant. It's in somewhere in the Los Angeles area. And it's been around for 70 years or so. There are like 160 some Fat Burger chains. And they're like in 2016 they had like a 8.5% growth. So I think it's an opportunity that I'm excited about and I'm going to be acting on.
Don't they have a lot of competition though in the hamburger field?
Well, I'm sure they do, but I think there's a lot of hype and there's like name recognition, and so I think that is going to launch the IPO. So in terms of long-term holding, I can't speak to that at all. But in terms of IPO opportunity, I think it has some merit.
We can speak to a native California.
Right.
I have a lot of experience with, when I used to live in LA, Fatburger was a strong following of people that are interested in this IPO, but there's been a push within the NASDAQ. I don't know if they're going to be on NASDAQ or, okay, good. So if they're going to be on NASDAQ, there's been a group of tech gurus that have been pushing for these guys to go public. So Fatburger is one, and also In-N-Out. So they've been waiting for that to crack. In-N-Out's not going to crack.
In and out.
In-N-Out. I've never heard of it.
Owned by a private family. It's huge, but I don't think they'll go public.
No, they'll never go public. But they've been pushing for them to go public. But Fatburger's one to fold.
Yeah.
If you're from California.
Because because they did that. Not to knock your Fat Burger, but there was a lot of hype on.
Shake Shack?
Yes.
So I think-
do you think that's why I'm asking? You think they're going to run into the same thing with?
I think the fast food industry is kind of packed. It's not my favorite sector, but I will say in defense for the stock is that there's sort of a movement towards more healthier, more real meat.
But is
USDA
fat
certified.
healthy?
Well, it's not that it's healthy; it's just that it's real.
And actually stands for
Real fat.
Real bad.
fresh,
It
authentic.
sounds like high cholesterol and calories.
Fresh. What is it?
Authentic, tasty.
Yeah.
Okay, I like that one, yeah, keep that in mind.
Can I ask you anything about the Robin Hood thing you were just talking about? That is a brokerage firm?
Yes, that's correct. It's for your mobile application, so you will download it from the Apple Store.
And Google Play.
Yeah.
I mean, can you
You can do it here.
Robinhood.com to see what about it? I mean,
Absolutely, yeah.
yeah, so that's, check it out, it's Robinhood.com.
They make money off of the uninvested money that they keep, and they take the interest. So if you're smart, you don't have a lot of idle cash sitting there.
Do you think they would go public?
I think so.
Right.
I thought somebody would buy them, but I'm not sure.
Because I think you were one of the people here.
I'm an
Was-
early proponent of them.
Yeah.
It's basically all these brokers are moving towards zero, and then this is pushing that over the edge.
I mean, all they're really getting is the data, I guess, that you're exposing your data to.
Data, yeah, and they get the interest from your uninvested.
I mean, who's gonna keep cash in Robinhood?
No, it's like banks. It's like how banks make money. You know, you
Yeah.
got your money in your savings account, and they.
Well, they're relying on the lazy, complacent investor that may sell and forget.
Yes.
So.
They have FDI insurance, so they're backed by the feds. A certain portion of your investment, I think it's something like $100,000. Plus, they have a subscription-based system. It's called Robinhood Gold. I'm a member of that. They allow you to put a little bit more money, and they give you margins.
I think I would have mentioned that earlier. The best, this or Merrill Lynch, free trades, a lot of these things, cost of trading is actually going to zero. Somebody said that. It certainly is.
Jerry just said.
I don't know,
Almost, yeah.
I mean, I'm sure it's going there, but.
If you want a big, reliable global institution, that would be IB, Interactive Brokers. What they do with your cash and what they do with your leftover money in the account and what they do with the shares that you already own by borrowing and so on. I'm new to them, but kinds of things that they do, which is, commission is almost zero, really. For example, I will sell 100 shares of something, the commission will be 7 cents. So minus the commission, the best, in my opinion, my little world, best cash management through manipulation can be, and if you want to do with a big institution, is Interactive Brokers. It's an incredible thing that they
They
do.
sweep the cash in or something?
Well, there are many different ways to do that. For example, cash plus is fully paid for securities. You can loan them, make them available. So cash could earn something. 0.66 was, they had. Plus, you could borrow the money. Can you imagine? Just go to the ATM, borrow $60,000, and you could borrow for 1.5%. And you could put that in the bank, cash at 0.66%. So for the manipulator who wants to manage cash, X number of ways. For example, I earned $27 this month for loaning out the securities I already own. $27 could buy me 2 coffees.
In what way? Are they paying?
They take your loan, your shares, and loan it to other people, shorting
Shorting the share.
and charge them and give me a share of
A
it.
piece of what they charge.
So it's not just one thing, but as we're talking about Robinhood and cash, what to do with it, it's for the manipulator. It's not, I put $5,000, who cares? It's not for that person. It's for the person who wants to optimize each and every penny that they have, not to get rich, but the best possible way that it can be. It's for the cash manager who wants, who's a manipulator, has lots of ears and eyes. IB broker, in my opinion, is the best institution around with that. Back to you.
Okay, is that it for you?
Okay, well, I did want to mention, I read something, because I was thinking about getting into doing a little bit of Bitcoin mining myself.
You say next year.
But right. But then I was reading something on the internet that it's the mining these days is being done on the cloud or in the cloud, and so like the miners and the all of that are kind of becoming obsolete and dated, and I don't know how viable those are as money making opportunities.
I thought a lot of it's done over in China, or it used to be. Maybe it's moved from them there.
No, it's like in the Mongolia. That's where
Mongolia,
one of the
doing a lot of mining.
And what they do is like they set up the farm, and then they want to charge you 6 months or a year of subscription, and then essentially it's like you invest into it, and then they pay dividend, and then
Yeah,
hopefully, and hopefully you make up the difference for the total amount of payment you pay into subscription.
That's exactly what that GOE actually is that I talked about earlier. They're gold miners.
I mean,
And a whole bunch of companies.
But not Bitcoin, they're gold.
Not Bitcoin. The idea of actually things that don't make sense to you that, to me, if you ask me, Bitcoin is not investment because there's no asset, no nothing, it's just a hype being passed around and you're betting on the hype.
Investing
How do you buy GE, you're investing in toasters. So there's investment there.
Yeah, okay.
My point is, yes, there are those vehicles available now. Yeah.
And then one more thing. So in addition to FAT going public, there's one more that's coming up, and I don't know when the launch date on that's going to be, but it's Flay, Flay, and it's Bobby Flay.
Bobby.
He's a celebrity chef, and I think just by the name recognition alone, that's going to get that some.
That's his
energy.
restaurants, basically.
Right.
That's the restaurants he has, right?
Well, that yes.
If I can say that both of these are better than Snap.
Now you tell me.
Now we're talking.
Okay, and that's all I have.
I know you're next.
Yeah, okay, so, gentlemen, I'm going to be kind of secure with you, and I'm going to be kind of risky with you. Today, let's talk about STT. This is called State Street Corporation. I've been sitting on this for a while. I started out with 100 shares probably about 6 or 7 months ago. And the reason why is I met the CEO of this company. He's not a polished guy, to say the least. So this was kind of hard for me to really create a dialogue, but I've talked to him a few times afterwards.
1.7 yield.
Yeah, so basically this is a financial services company, and one of the reasons why I got involved is because they have authorization to do financial services in all 50 states.
Right.
So that's a very important and crucial piece if you know about the legalities. And the young man, he's very young. He's around my age or so. It's really nice. But he's trying to push for. There's a bit of a crypto element that's involved. They're moving into that, and I don't want to talk about that because I guess it was in the private group that we were in at that time. But just know that they've dealt with traditional investments. They do money management. They do a lot of different things, compliance. But this is a rising company. They're doing pretty well. So
Are they a bank?
Financial services is the best way to describe it. I mean, they service.
Are they like Schwab or
they have
Fidelity?
No, I wouldn't put them in Schwab or Fidelity.
Would you put them with an insurance industry?
No, not sure. Financial services purely because if you have like 100K, go see him, and he'll set up a broker.
I believe they run the SPY ETF,
Yeah.
right?
Well, they do a lot of things. They do a lot of things.
Yeah, they are the back office for many companies, things that you may be familiar with. but you do not know who runs them.
custodian for
They're like the JP
mega
Morgan,
trades.
little baby JP Morgan types. They do a lot of back office work for a lot of these big names.
But they also are the ones that cooked off the SPY, the S&P 500.
How long have they been around?
Yeah. So they were the first.
I can't really say how long they've been around. I'm not a
Very
master
long
at
time.
this company, but
Yeah,
I do know
long
the
time.
CEO. Like I
Like
said,
2 centuries ago.
Right.
I met the guy downtown. DC.
Longer than any one of us.
Big
Yeah.
sense.
Oh, really? They've been
Oh, yeah.
long.
It's
Okay.
not
Even the oldest of us.
Older than that.
Before that.
It's very old
I guess
established
John?
institution.
Since you're
Very respectful.
knowledgeable about this Bitcoin, tell me in plain English what you do with it.
Buy drugs in the dark net.
If you
Drugs in the dark
I
net.
know it is, but tell me what.
Somebody's willing to accept it from something.
That's it, then you don't pay any tax.
If you get into
buy all
Bitcoin,
kinds of
it's
things.
When the day
Yeah.
comes,
buy all
I
kinds of
an
call you.
investment
It's
instrument that can
$20.
get you about $1,000.
Go with some time.
You buy,
They don't like that.
if you wanna go into
Trace.
Bitcoin,
No, Venezuela is.
the vehicle,
Yeah.
what do you do?
You can talk to Coinbank, or not Coinbank,
Base.
Coinbase, and basically all you do, Coinbase is like a bank of these cryptocurrencies, but they only have 3, and you can go to your like say your Wells Fargo
Coinbase or Coinbank?
base, and they only have 3 cryptocurrencies. So you can go into your bank, your Wells Fargo bank, let's say you have an account, and you can transfer money from that bank account into this Coinbase and purchase either Bitcoin, Ethereum, or BitLight, is it?
What are you purchasing?
You're purchasing a currency,
Ledger.
a ledger,
Security.
What are you purchasing at what price?
whatever price it's trading at that
Are
time.
you purchasing a share?
No.
No, what you're doing is it's almost like you're buying foreign currency in a way. So let's say when the euro was high and you wanted to go to your bank and buy euros and put them out of U.S. dollars, that's what you're doing. This is like a currency. And ideally, if this happens, what you would do is, I don't know if they'd give you a form null or some card, but what I would think this would come down to is like if you go to the gas station and want gas, you just put the card in, and it pays for the gas.
I have the card.
Okay? So basically, if this goes over, this blockchain comes over, it's another form of commerce. It's another form of commerce. So it's, if you sort of think about it that way, it's like also I think it'll do away with credit cards, won't it?
It's another like monetary system, except instead of having physical cash, now it's gonna have
the no
digital
tax
cash.
guy. I mean, that's.
If you wanna buy the euro, you take your dollars, you buy euros. And
That's
that rate,
taxable.
the rate is like 1.175 right now.
You know, that's a taxable trade.
Right, and so when you go in to buy, if you go in to buy, let's say, Ethereum, which is one of these cryptocurrencies, for $1, it'll cost you, I think, $300, 300 of their currency.
Well, no,
No,
you have to put in real
It's all the
money
way
to begin with.
Well,
You never take
$300
it out.
US
for one of their, yeah, I'm
Right,
sorry,
I mean,
300.
you
Yeah,
never
you're
take it
right.
out.
I was like, really?
Right.
So all
Right.
you got in there is what you put in the first place.
Okay, so what?
It's like currency is what faith and backing
Yeah.
that the issuer has. And when you take the euro, it's backed by the European Union of sorts.
Whatever that's worth, yeah.
And it's a currency, and you can buy and sell that, and everybody knows it's good. And if you have a bank deposit, you've got so much in euros, you want to convert that to another, like the dollar, you can do that.
Tax man.
Well,
So you're
I
dealing
think
with
currencies
someone
are only
who's-
worth the belief
who's
that people
not
put them.
Yeah, it's the same
a-
concept as
Right,
crypto.
it's the same. I mean, I don't know if you have access to a computer, but you should go on Coinbase,
Yeah. check it out.
and because it's a bank in this, you're dealing with their version of a bank. It's BB&T in the cryptocurrency world or chain block.
And they have Visa logos.
I
And
mean, as long as you don't pull your money out of Bitcoin, you're good.
Yeah, the whole idea is not to be backed by any
Never pull it
government,
out.
right? Whereas the traditional
So-
monetary
When
system
you
has a
spend it, you're
monetary
pulling it out, when you
government.
spend it.
Yeah, but you don't get cash for that. You spend it to something
you
else.
spend it for clothes or food
They're
or
just taking it
gas.
for whatever you're.
I never imagined that Bitcoin would be this much of an obsession in this group, so I'm going to stop it right now for the fact that
I
it's
mean,
not.
I think people are getting confused by all this. I mean, it's
I
very
can-
simple
I
process.
can talk to the gentleman out
If
front.
I don't understand something, I'm not gonna touch it, okay?
Yeah.
And I
You,
don't understand that.
That's valid.
You need to
That's
read
I
valid.
know you talk,
You
so
said
that's-
I'm
You need to read the white paper on the technology.
No, but you got
That'll
to
convince you of it.
you really should go online and look at Coinbase
Yeah.
and read
I
it.
got burned by it.
You know, because it's a. Would you say it's a bank?
Okay, what I will say is this, so we can kind of get off the subject, is that Bitcoin has been sort of like, in order for me to, it's a generational idea, and I had taken a lot of time to explain it to everyone in the room. Like John understands it very well, but that took like almost like 2 years.
Yes,
So
it
if you want-
John's
if you
older.
want- if
He's
you
not as
want-
old as some of us.
And I'm not trying to
No.
make fun of John, I'm just
No,
being honest.
I know that.
But I'm just saying, if you really want to get a grasp of it, I'll the whole time after the meeting.
Paul,
so you can
Paul,
really get-
and all I can tell you, I went to a forum at my agency on this crap.
Right?
Okay, I mean, you know how fast Uncle Sugar is.
And they
You know,
taught you, they
and-
taught you what it is.
It talked about the concept of blockchain commerce, is what I will say. It's blockchain
Anybody can
commerce.
set up a currency and try to deal in it. I mean, I'm just,
That's true.
I'm saying
I
anybody.
think, I think we gotta wrap it up. Vince is, this is a Zoc Docs. Noel is your man on Bitcoin, but, you know, it's
Yep,
after.
let's talk after.
Correct. If you catch me afterwards, I'll talk to you. I'd be glad to. All right, so I got another stock, if I may. Adobe.
Oh.
I mentioned that to the group before.
Yeah. I'm big in
Is
that.
that,
I'm pretty consistent, yeah.
is
Woo!
this a little touchy with the whole experience, because it was an Adobe product that exposed the
Yeah.
experience, or Equifax?
Yeah. I mean, that is exactly something what people have mentioned, but I myself,
Up here.
Yeah.
No yield.
well,
So it spiked because, what was the spike from?
Well, there was a discussion about that, but that's something that I've only been rumored. I have a friend that works for the company, and he wasn't really specific, but I think that there has a lot to do with some future contracts and future earnings that they have coming in the pipeline. If you know Adobe, for those of you that don't know, there's not a computer in the world that doesn't have Adobe on it. Almost every government has a reliance on the PDF forms and documents that have been created and originated by Adobe. The whole Adobe interface for pro usage, for creating various files, for editing, and for manipulation and securing documents, for signing documents in the government that we do with our digital signatures using our PIV card. Adobe's part of that.
PDFs.
Yeah, EDF. So I mean, there's a lot of reason why this stock should be at least $500 a
Well,
share.
is this, so you're thinking this is another Nevada?
Well, no, I'm saying to you, the intellectual property for a long time. I've been in this stock for a long time. You know, John, I've mentioned this for a while, but this stock hasn't been rising at the rate that it should. It's similar to an Nvidia because Nvidia was very much underrated for many years. But if you look at what they're talking about for future earnings, now we're actually going to this stock is actually catching up to what it needs to catch up with.
Yeah, so
I understand that, but from what I know from my friend who's told me that there's a lot coming in the next 5
So
years.
I also own Adobe. I'm like up 140% on
Correct.
it, and
Very good.
I really like the company. It's because they do, like what you say, it's very pervasive. They intentionally made the Adobe Reader, the PDF reader, free, so anybody can open it and read. But to edit it, you have to purchase. There's a service, and then they also sell the Photoshop, Premiere, and all that. But ever since I started doing YouTube stuff, I noticed the professionals are using them, and they made the Adobe Cloud, a Creative Cloud, to allow the level of collaboration between whatever platform, and actually get creative content out to YouTube and stuff. And the other thing I noticed is that they recently pushed out this AI technology to do image processing, essentially allowed in the future, like traditionally people will have to get one of those pen tab, you got like get the edges, edit out and all of that. But they're actually automating a lot of the process because of the amount of content they have in the cloud and do machine learning on those data. They can do the level of editing with just a command or something that they know exactly what you want.
Correct.
And then the other thing is basically what you're saying, they increased their guidance for 2018, and then I think like 4 or 5 of the major analysts upgraded their rating or something, and that's what caused the spike. Yeah.
So I've been in this stock for quite a long time, and it's been a great earner. So I have one stock for those that like to maybe this is a junk stock. It's not worth it, but I want to bring it up because it's something that you may want to watch. BTCS. BTCS.
You know that one too?
I always bring up something this is not, okay, I own this stock. But
it's
Bravo,
OTC.
Tango, Charlie, Sally.
Yeah, BTCS.
Maybe you can pull it up. It might be too small.
No,
It's
you
an
just get-
OTC market.
Is that it, BTCS?
Yes. Okay, it's not cut up. So this is an OTC. Yeah, it's probably OTC that.
Over the counter.
But there's a company that actually is bringing, particularly Bitcoin. It's like the Walmart of Bitcoin to a physical brick and mortar situation. And they've been doing this, trying to do this for at least 4 years. I've ridden this stock, it's at 17 cents a share, but I've ridden this stock all the way almost to like a 1.1 cent a share. And I purchased more because I see that there's a gap between people who want to understand Bitcoin and also how to purchase it in a brick and mortar context bank-wise. So they're like a bank institution that's listed on the OTC market. So that's what I've been involved in. So that's it.
But do you think they'll go to NASDAQ or New York eventually?
I think they're on their way to doing that, but they have some financial issues to clear up. So
There's just more Bitcoins there. Should be good.
they're trying to.
Don, you're next.
I didn't buy or sell anything, but I went to my three times a year, one of my 3 times a year meetings with my financial advisor, Merrill Lynch. And according to her, Merrill Lynch's gurus are saying that we are going to have a pullback sometime in the next 3 months or so. But it's only going to be a small pullback, and then things are going to go up again. So that's what they said, they say.
Okay.
We lost another bank. Farmers and Merchants State Bank of Argonia, Kansas.
Well, it's a big city.
Went down. It had two branches. And Conway Bank of Conway Springs, Kansas assumed it. So, well, I think that's the 4th one this year. Also, Gary, I wonder if you comment on continuously offered closed-end funds.
I don't know about that. That doesn't sound like a closed-end fund. It's continuously offered.
That's what I said. I didn't quite understand it myself, so I thought you might have some insight.
Right, that's news to me. I've never heard of it.
They've got a list of, maybe 40 or 50.
It might be interval funds, and they're
504 fund?
Huh?
504 fund? No.
I mean, I have to. My suspicion on that is there's a lot of overhead on those things that they're not showing. And continuously offered closed-end fund sounds like you can go in, but you can't come out.
Isn't that the Rain Hotel or something?
Oh, it was the California hotels. I don't know.
Okay. That's all for me.
Maria?
Yes, right. I didn't buy or sell anything. I guess I'm just kind of curious if this tax plan passes, like how high can it go?
The market?
The stock market, yeah. I mean, it just seems like they passed the budget. It seems more likely they might get this tax plan passed. And it just seems like,
it could be the end of the tax. That's like one up and then watch out. Katie Barfield.
I don't know, it's going to be real interesting, I think. And I guess Trump's going to name the new Fitcher.
Yeah, well, that's
very
sure.
What do you guys think of the current one?
Yellen, she's been steady hand.
I mean, wouldn't you
I
keep
like
her?
Yellen a lot, but I think that Trump is definitely going to replace her. That's
I mean,
everybody's
he
opinion.
pretty much called her out on the campaign trail. I mean,
Yeah,
that's, that was a promise now.
she was
I
toast.
mean, it doesn't mean he wouldn't kill a promise. I mean, that's no big deal.
The market likes certainty, so if he keeps her, that'll be good.
But I think it'll be the same old thing. If they raise the interest rates at all, it'll be very little, very, very little, because Trump wants the low interest rates. But
Well, that's not what he said on the campaign trail.
No, but he is all for business, and keeping those interest rates low and keeping that stock market flying is going to be dependent. And I am hearing a lot about him saying low interest rates. He's all for low interest rates now.
Yeah. Well,
He's kept them low.
She's kept them low. She's been a good soldier for him, but I still think he's going to probably replace her. That's what everybody at the Fed is saying anyway. I think she's done. It's down to the last 5 candidates or something is what they're talking about now.
I mean, wasn't that some kind of a co-chairman and co-chair or something like that?
No, the leading candidate is also a governor, so I don't think it'd be a big change unless he goes rogue, which is possible.
I mean, hey, Trump is unique without question. I mean, Trump is Trump.
Yeah, he's got his own ideology.
But I think he's going to want that stock market to keep flying. So
I think he does want that, but
And I mean, I know Vince always says, well, the Federal Reserve is completely independent of the government, but I still think if Trump appoints somebody, they're a little more beholden to whatever his policies are. I mean, that's what I just think. So, but I think the interest rates, unfortunately, will stay really low.
Okay, so is that it for him, right?
That's it.
Gentleman back there in the corner. Blue shirt, yeah.
Yeah, how are you guys? My name is Ruben. This is the first time joining you guys. I'm a kind of new to stock market. I used to try like day trade, but the day trade is not fit my character. So I'm doing the swing trade. I keep the stock like weeks or so. I'm making some money, but I want to listen to everyone. What's their strategy?
Yeah, that's great. That's what we want.
Yeah.
All right, excellent. So that's it for you?
That's it.
Saeed?
Nothing is changed from my side. I not changed my portfolio, so same. But one question for Nora. Whenever I come, usually I learn a lot of things from you, particularly you bring a lot of new things.
You're not that old, son.
Yeah, exactly. For example, like Bitcoin, for example, like Nvidia, for example, like Adobe. Like from long time, I keep listening from everybody, but you bring up like some very growth stocks and very new ideas. So basically, my question is, where do you read that information? Like, what are all the sources? You go through it.
He's trying to make you obsolete. No.
Artificial intelligence to steal your brain.
Yeah. No, it's okay. So I grew up in, my mom lives in San Jose, California. She lives probably 15 minutes away from Adobe. She's walkable distance to Google. My friends are all mostly Indian, and they work in Google, Apple. I have two friends who are Sudanese that work for Apple. One friend, not that their ethnicity matters, but I'm just trying to give you an idea that Silicon Valley is a very immigrant driven.
Yes.
So I'm a part of an immigrant conglomerate of different individuals who tell me about new chips, new computers, new cryptocurrencies, and there's so much activity going on in Silicon Valley that I try to keep up with that.
Yeah,
But things move very fast there, so that's my background.
Do you read in websites?
I don't have to read. My friends call me in the middle of the night because it's a time difference. So I pretty much stay up till like 2 a.m. because I know somebody's going to call me.
My friend tells me
We
at 2
actually
a.m. I usually
talk to you if there's a voice call.
Yeah, they call me over the phone.
Voice
It's not a
call?
voice.
Wow.
It's not a voice call. It's
all right.
they use like WhatsApp
that's-
or
Yeah, like
use
Skype or something.
Yeah, Skype. They're not using a phone.
I didn't think so, but that really shocked me.
I mean, we use like Skype or Google Talk or something.
How did you first hear about Bitcoin?
I first heard about Bitcoin from a friend of mine, 3 friends of mine who were losers a few years ago. They invested and started mining Bitcoin. They told me to set up my computer to mine. I set up my computer to mine, but unfortunately, I didn't like the fact that it was slowing my computer down. So I installed the software. Then they called me idiots for the last 3 years until finally I purchased Bitcoin after the second crash. But they're wealthy. These guys are like multi-millionaires, but they ride their bikes every day. Kind of feel strange.
3 years, 4 years, 5 years.
No,
Bitcoin's
not
only
that.
since
Not that.
2009.
Not that.
So
Yeah, for me, it's only been 3.
Was that it for you, Sonny?
Yeah.
James, you're next.
Sure. Didn't do any stock trading, but I wanted to follow up on one point that John brought up, which is the IT security aspect. One data point to look at from an investment side is there's a big push within governments within the U.S. and companies to buy an American-based antivirus or security system.
Kaspersky.
So like Kaspersky is Russian. A lot of the other big players you just don't know. The free ones you have on your computers at home are Dutch, German, they're just all over Europe. So there's a very few that are American. I mean, you know the ones like McAfee and Norton. The ones that, I could only find one that was a publicly traded company, which is Fortinet, I don't never use them, or I'm not
Fortinet.
and the stock is FTNT.
Yeah.
FTNG.
And the stock chart doesn't look too bad, and I just checked TD Ameritrade's Institutional Investor Advisor, and it puts it in a pretty good pretty good recommendation. So I've added this to my watch list, but no action, clearly.
Well, I like it. It's good.
So this is the only kind of antivirus stock that I would.
One thing you could do too is if you look at Hack,
Yeah.
you can see the various companies that are involved in this. Because
Someone.
No, he has grayish hair and glasses. He and I talked a great deal, and he was in Hack, I was in Hack.
Tom?
No, not Tom. Newell? It's not Newell. Not
Lowell?
Lowell.
Lowell, yeah, that's right.
Lowell, yeah. Lowell really was in this cybersecurity space, I'd say 3 years ago. And this was one of the companies too. That's why if you look at Hack, that's a method to see. Like Tom had a lot of, it did fantastic. That one out in California has in the bottom.
McAfee?
Or maybe Palo Alto.
Palo Alto. Tom did fantastic. Yeah,
initially it was good.
It went through the roof. So and there was FireEye and several, and that bombed. So
Sam was a fire.
So one idea is to Hack, at least to see
Compare
the company. No, well, what they're holding.
Okay.
Because
See the mixture
it
of
shows
things,
you the various cybersecurity companies in Hack.
Interesting.
Okay.
Sorry to cut you off.
No, that's
but we
good.
were
That's
on
all I
that-
had. So I just wanted to raise this one I found.
Okay, so that's it for you, Dave?
Yep. That's it.
Next gentleman there? Okay. Dan, you're next. Oh, boy, we're moving fast now. Then the next gentleman next to you there. You're on the spot.
I'm just here to, listen to you guys talk about the markets and stocks. I haven't really been looking into any myself. I've just been busy. But I've just been watching the market in general because I'm new to this. So I've been watching how different forces affect the general market, such as like the tax plan was interesting. Geopolitical events happening, things like that. I thought it was really bullish when the market opened 100 points down, and then at the end of the day it rallied and closed to a small rally. Like I thought, it's very telling as to, where the market's going up.
I mean,
Solid
that's
trend.
the old story. The pros initiate at the end. I mean, that's an old gory wives' tale, but I mean, there's still something to it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's it for you.
That's it. Yeah. That's
The
really it.
lady next to you. Always glad to have ladies here.
My name is Cheryl, and I'm trading the ES Mini, and I'm trading stocks too. So I'm just here to listen to some good deals are out
Okay. So that's it for you.
there. Oh yes.
Way, you're next.
All right, so my biggest move this week would have been Adobe, like up, I think 14% just this week, and then
Yeah, I had a big jump there.
and then the other one would have been Shopify. That's
Oh.
SHOP. So
Yeah.
I got into it because of after that Citron research released and caused the stock to panic, and
And the high volume and that,
Yep.
whatever it
yeah, that was just they were talking
Citron's
about how it's
story on it.
companies trying to sell get rich quick scheme to the consumers and try to discredit all of their vendors and the business model. But so I bought like multiple times. One's at 105 and one's at 90 something ish. Yeah, and I bought a bunch of call options there and then put options there. So that one's not a big move for me. Close to like 5% higher on Friday. Other than that, I've been holding. Yeah, and they got earnings announcement on I think 31st of this month, so that'll be interesting. And the AMD has their earnings next week on Tuesday. So if you guys are trading AMD, just FYI, it's going to be a big volatility.
And you want to put that one up? That will marry David.
Yep. So I have I got back into it by selling puts at 14 and acquired the shares. And then I'm riding through the earnings announcement just because I know there's a big push in the mining world, not just purchasing cryptos. A lot of the people, if you go look up like some of their AMD's chips for doing crypto mining devices, it's always sold out, right? So you do notice there's a huge demand in that round. Like one of the, I think, Raytheon processors and other chips. I didn't look specifically at which one it was, but yeah, so I do notice that might potentially boost their revenue bottom line. In addition to, if they keep on producing, there will be more people trying to buy them and set up their own farm. Because I talked to some of my friends in California. That's where it seems where ideas come from. And also Washington, where Microsoft headquarters is at. There are people trying to set up a simple miner and pay subscription fee to a server, and then they get something like $8 a day or $7 to $8 a day per machine that costs $700, and that's after electricity bills and everything. So in 100 days, you break even, essentially. So that's very quick turnaround for something that you can invest in, right? So they're trying to pool money together and get the investors' money, pool money together, buy a bunch of these systems and set up a farm and mine about $7 per machine per day, and then pay off the investors, and then in addition to 20% of the promised return on investment in span of like 5 months. And then after that, you have physical hardware that has intrinsic value with the physical hardware, in addition to additional mining and cash flow from the mining process, and then converting the cash to physical assets such as like real estate or even gold, silver, or whatever, right? And not keeping the crypto world. So that's why I'm pretty strong proponent of getting physical assets to mine instead of buying cryptos, because you can easily, the wind can shift from one currency to another, and then the Fed can come in, or whatever entity can come in and try to shut down one and create another. So AMD. Next week.
Is that the way they can dodge the taxman because they buy the physical assets with their Bitcoin product?
Oh, they don't care. They don't care about paying tax part, because I mean,
right,
as a part of the U.S. citizen,
is no tax. I mean, taxes are just so high. I mean, like they are enormous.
I mean, as a U.S. citizen, you should anticipate to contribute some money to the country and help out the nation, right? But the whole idea is not to keep money in the cryptos, but translate that to physical assets. That's all. I mean, some people prefer to keep it in the cryptos, but there are some others who are willing to just transfer that to physical assets, especially if you can keep on generating the cryptos, right? If you can't generate it, you buy it and you want to hold it, appreciate it. But if you can generate it, sell it.
I mean, of course, the only problem is you're not getting the crypto ledger on there. You're relying on your guys saying, "Well, we keep honest records." That may be true. That's your risk. So.
Yeah. I mean, the risk is significantly lower because even if everything crashes, to all the cryptos crashes tomorrow, the technology is there to stay, and you have the physical asset that's capable of leveraging off that technology. That's all.
Symbol on that.
Yep.
ADM. He wants to know the symbol.
Oh, AMD. Yeah.
No,
No, this is Vince. That's a Vince chart, because Vince was ready.
I'll get to it when I come on.
So that's it?
Do you know the website where you can join the
I have a few. I have to find it. I can send it out in the email to the group.
I read a very interesting article on solar panels. Solar panels are supposedly getting more efficient and more efficient and more efficient. And
solar powered.
This article said that in 10 years, which is 2027,
that's coming up, isn't it?
they are going to be grabbing a bigger and bigger share of the electrical generating capacity of this country. Maybe even half, which is amazing. That projection might be all off base.
No, was it TAN or what was it?
TAN.
TAN.
ETF on solar. ETF on solar.
We'll get to it.
I sold puts on 10, as soon as I read that article, I sold some 22 straight puts. Then it fell down to 17, so I took the stock. Then it went, after 9 months, it went back up to 22. I said, oh, I'm gonna sell some calls on it. So I sold some calls and pulled the stock away. That's an ETF. So I sold the puts at like a half, and then I sold the calls at a half. Well, then I said, well, you're not gonna get me, I'm gonna sell puts on you again. So I sold puts expiring Friday at a half, and they let me work this. So I've got 3 sets of options when we work this on 10. But anyhow, the reason I was attracted to it is this article on solar. If that's true, that these panels are getting so much more efficient that they will take over the fossil fuel generation capacity, that has enormous implications. I did see in that same article a reference to a solar facility in the Mid-East, which has a lot of sunshine, by the way. But this solar facility will produce at 2.9 cents a kilowatt hour. 2.9 cents a kilowatt hour. We're probably paying electric bills here. 10. 10? Whatever. If you're paying a lot. Maybe some of them paying more than that. 14, 15 cents a kilowatt hour.
Puerto Rico, I think, is about 30 cents.
30, some of them are rip-offs.
Yeah.
But anyhow, if it's true that these panels are becoming so much more efficient, they can produce electricity in the dark now. They produce it when the sunlight's on, they produce it in the dark from the infrared and the other rays that are still there. Some of those panels are capable of doing that. Anyhow, it's an idea. TAN, solar, it might be more of a thing of the future than we think because of the efficiency of those panels. They have theoretical limits on the efficiency on them, and they're more expensive to produce panels.
1% yield, so at least a little something.
Yeah, I was at a, you guys don't have some, yeah.
You don't need to bid.
Yeah, you want to talk about investments. What else? I looked at Puerto Rican real estate site. Puerto Rico is in bad shape, right?
Yeah.
Puerto Rico can't pay their debts. Power grid is down. It's bad. But they're going to have some auctions. Some beautiful, expensive houses, inexpensive houses, whatever, all over Puerto Rico. And when last time they did this was 2009, 2010 here. And those were bargains to buy real estate when they have these auctions. These are basically banks that have taken title, they gotta get rid of it. And Puerto Rico is gonna have a boatload of it. And I like those houses that are nice. So you can draw a line north and south of Puerto Rico. And if you go west of the line, you're better off than if you go east of the line. In the middle of the island. There's houses that are proposed on the banks and have advantaged some by the hurricane. So there's going to be maybe $500 houses, $5,000 houses that actually previously sold for $75,000, $150,000 each.
How about Puerto Rican banks? Are there any stocks of Puerto Rican banks?
I don't know.
Because they're probably going to kill too.
Everything's hurting down there. Everything is hurting. And I used to trade at Puerto Rican bank, but that's like 15, 20 years ago. I'm doing it more. I would think everything is hurting down there. And, the lights are off yet for most of the island. And you can't go in there and dig holes and put telephone poles in it and reset the telephone poles overnight. You can't do that. No matter how hard you work at it, no matter how many utility crews you bring in, you can't fix all that right away. And apparently that's what's been damaged, because a lot of the electric light poles you see on the street are blown down, broken off. You can't fix that right away. Let alone have any money to fix it.
Well, there's some news that was reported by Elon Musk. He's actually saying that he can do it in 3 months. bring power. He's already made a deal with the governor, I think, of Puerto Rico, and I think it's like a $200 or $300 million deal. I own Tesla, and basically, I think the reason why he's doing it is because he's planning to go to Mars. So his attitude is like, if I can put power grids in Puerto Rico, then I can put power grids on Mars.
Who's still to work?
I don't know.
Yeah, the problem with Puerto Rico was that they had that their power agency was a dumping ground for all the politicians. If they lost an election, they went to the power out there. And each side did that. And whoa, surprisingly, things got to be a real mess. But they kept doing that, and they kept doing it. And they got away with it because they got a lot of tax breaks, and you can get tax-free Puerto Rican bonds. So do it, and we'll dump these politicos into the power agency. Well, hello, the power system is a total mess. And so Elon Musk is saying, I'm not going to fool with that. I'm putting in my own stuff in there. That saves like mega bucks. I mean, you do it yourself. You don't have to fool with all the political hacks that are in there, and you're in good shape.
Well, power is oil, fuel.
Right.
Very inefficient.
They were too busy paying all the politicians, and they had no money left.
Well, didn't he also buy his cousin's company, and that's in solar?
Yeah, solar city.
So that's what I guess Musk will go in there with his solar idea.
He's already said he's going to use batteries and solar power.
But in any case, is that it for you, Paul?
Very much.
Vince is to wrap it up.
This is the advanced decline line. In other words, the number of, on any given day, take the number of advances, subtract the number of decliners, and add that to this chart. And this is what the stock market's been doing. And it started on election day, or the day after, back in November. You can see that. And you wonder how far can this go up. I've been looking and looking and looking. I like growth stocks, but the prices of growth stocks have gotten to be absolutely ridiculous on a historical basis. So looking at a short term, let's see, another one. Now, this is the 40-day moving average percentage of, I'm sorry, it is the percentage of stocks above their own 40-day moving averages. So this is kind of a short-term indicator, and you can see when the thing gets up around 70, it has a tendency to pull back, right? And so we're up there. So the combination of short-term, we're overbought, and long-term, it's kind of hard to find a bargain. And so I'm kind of hoping that the stock market pulls back and sells off. So some of the good stocks start showing some decent prices again. So I'm basically doing nothing. I'm just nervous. What can I do now?
What's the symbol of that?
Everything that's halfway decent. The symbol on this is T2108, but it's not a stock market thing. It's an indicator invented by the people who sell this software. By the way, I'm not online. I downloaded this stuff last night. It's a thing I pay about $200, actually $299 a year for.
By the way, thank you, Vince, for that. It's great service for everybody here. Being able to pull your charts up so fast.
Yeah, the good thing about this is I'm not online, so I downloaded all this stuff last night, and all I have to do is punch it in and pull up the chart. There's a downside to this too, though. If I got, say, on a Fidelity website or any other website, I could get a lot of $2 stocks and stuff that doesn't trade very much. This stuff here only gives you, I don't know, maybe 3,000 or 4,000 stocks. But there's more like 7,000 or 8,000 out there.
So how far back can you backfill the data?
How far back can I go?
Because I know a lot of platforms they even stop like 30 years. That's it.
Okay. I'll go back as far as I can with General Motors. That's as far back as I can go.
Well, that's not that much.
What's good about this software, though, you can put in all kinds of indicators.
It's only 4 years.
is at an all-time high right now.
Yeah, it's at an all-time high, and what's made it go up is expectations. It's expectations that always cause stocks to go up. So whether you think a stock is going to go up or down, look at what the predictions are for earnings 6 months from now, a year from now,
Well,
2
Vince,
years from now.
And
That gives you a clue as to what a stock is going to do. The earnings that's already been reported, that's been in the stock a long time.
Yeah, and you also have to wonder where the money's coming from, right? It's
Yeah.
because of anticipation of interest rate hike. A lot of the money, people are selling off bond in anticipation of that bond is going to decrease by value. So you got basically money transitioning from the bond market to some other asset, real estate, whatever assets out there. And that's why I see like everything bubble, right? That's what people talk about. It's just reallocation of money.
But
But once
now with interest rates expected to go up, but they're going to creep up.
Yeah,
very
but once the interest
slowly.
rate goes up, the money is going to slush back, right? That's why it works.
Stocks that pay high dividends are less in favor, and stocks that are expected to grow their earnings are more in favor.
well, I don't know, Vince. GE, I'm not GE.
AT&T?
No, I was going to say the Dominion Power and New Next Energy are at all highs, and they pay good dividends. Those are utility stocks and PPL. So I don't know about that, unless it's just that sector.
Okay, let's see this. Here's the Dominion Resources. And by the way, that's the bluest of all blue chips when it comes to utility stocks.
And New Next Energy, NEE. Put them on there. It's
I don't see. This to me looks like it's probably up as high as it's going to get.
well, I'm saying, but they're high.
Yeah,
They're not
but I
going
wouldn't buy it now.
Oh, put NEE on there. You want to see a bench chart?
NPE?
No, NEE.
NPE?
No.
November Echo Echo.
Okay, I got you.
That's a bench chart.
Would I buy it now?
Probably not.
I don't think so. I have maybe bought it somewhere in here, maybe.
Yeah, right, you would have bought it right there.
Or maybe even in here, but I wouldn't buy it now.
What are your thoughts on GE, Vince?
GE? I kind of favor stocks where I think the earnings are going to accelerate. These real big companies, I don't think they can grow their earnings to the extent that I would like. Let's take a look at it. Okay, that's a turnaround situation. Well, what's going to make it turn around?
Well,
I mean, a company that's that big, this is like a locomotive going down 100 miles an hour on a track. What's going to make it do something different?
well, they're going to cut more positions and they're going to sell off more. Does pay a good dividend
They
there.
got a new leader.
They got a new guy coming in.
And this concludes this week's live stream. Thank you for listening.